Hey, happy Sunday. How are y'all doing? So I just wanted to ask you, are you worried about what's going on in your life that you don't know about? Are you worried about all the great things other people are achieving? Are you worried that you haven't done enough? Are you worried that you haven't made it the way you want to, that you don't have enough money, enough fun, enough friends, enough life? Are you thinking everybody else is doing something fun and you're not part of it? You may suffer from FOMO. That's right, FOMO, fear of missing out. A lot of people that I talk to have this thing about they feel that something in their life didn't happen the way they wanted it to, and now they're not getting what they think they wanted. And notice I said a lot of thinks and a lot of, basically things that don't exist. I'm bringing them in because people have this feeling that there are things in their life that they are not getting, and there is a constant fear of missing out. Your fear of missing out could be constantly looking on the phone, see who's texting you, who's calling you, who tagged you on their Facebook or, chit chat page or whatever the heck you're listening to. Who is it that's going through and going, oh, I saw you, I put a like for you, I followed you, I did all these things. And you're constantly looking to see if people are looking at you, and they're looking at you to see if you're looking at them, and everybody's afraid that no one's looking at them. And there you go, fear of missing out. Sometimes it's you had a snag or a snafu in life. You didn't get the promotion you wanted, or you were going to school, you didn't get the grades you wanted, and you feel that now you have let yourself or somebody else down, and therefore you dwell on that. And you have a constant fear that you've not done what you're supposed to do, and you have a fear of missing out. What's the other end of this? Well, you have problems getting up in the morning. You just don't care. You just have a problem with life in general where you're not motivated to do the things you want, even the things that you thought you wanted, and you just don't want to get up and do. And now you have what's called IDGAF, which is I don't give a. You get the idea what the last word is. And a lot of people fluctuate between these two. They suffer from FOMO, and they spend so much of their time worried about what they don't have that they think would make their life so great. They have no proof it would make their life great, except maybe that Pepsi commercial on TV, or this other ad where they said, "Ooh, if you have this, your life will be so much better," Or they're looking at everybody else's selfies and thinking, wow, they're really having fun, which you and me both know are a bunch of BS, because people could be fighting, screaming and hollering, death threats, everything going down. As soon as someone pulls out the phone and says, selfie, everybody goes from to, which is such BS, because nobody is having that much fun all the time. You cannot judge a person's life by their selfies. It's just no. And we've gotten into that. So then you go to this, well, gee, I'll never be that good. I'll never achieve that thing I thought I was supposed to achieve, and life is going to suck. And now you've swung your pendulum all the way to the other side, to where you don't even want to get out of bed because you just don't give a rat's behind whether or not you get up, whether you do anything or what. And many people's lives flow from FOMO to IDGAF and back and forth all the time. Interesting thing that people don't realize, both ends of that pendulum are totally in your mind. That's right. They are located in this 6 to 8 inch space, depending on how big your cranium is. Right here, it's all here. Your fears of missing out are fears of missing out of things that you've made up in your mind as being so great. In fact, if you look around, a lot of the things that we idolize and think would be great, like you see these famous people, you see these people with awesome lives, and then you realize that, these people are not so happy and life is not so great, and they have the same problems that you and I have. They just have them in a different tax bracket, but they still have them. You can go to places and see some of the poorest people in the world who are still okay and happy with what they have. And it becomes just a matter of measuring yourself against yourself. In other words, if you're in a world where everything is everything around you is basically low level poor. You don't have much and everybody's just scratching by, and you have the little bitty extra thing that someone doesn't have, or you at least achieve some level of status that maybe your parents didn't, then you feel good. Even that puts you at a weird angle for feeling better, because if your parents didn't do well off and you do a little better than they did, then you're going to feel a little better about yourself. Versus if your parents did great and you didn't do quite as well as them, but in reality, you're miles ahead of that person I just talked about whose parents didn't get anywhere and they got a little bit ahead. Even though you're way ahead of them, in your mind, you're comparing yourself to that generation before, or you're comparing yourself to your circle of friends. So a lot of it comes down to, what are you comparing yourself against? Please don't take me that I'm saying don't push yourself to do better. I think you should always work to be better. The problem is when you dwell on the fact of what you don't have, you're going to be miserable. If you dwell on the fact that you don't have something and that's all you pay attention to, then you don't notice what you have. And if you let it overwhelm you, then you start to make up in your mind a fantasy story of you'll never get what you want. And therefore, there's no reason getting up and doing anything. So you fluctuate. Id gaff, mofo, mofo, id gaff. There is a middle path of being able to notice what it is you have and enjoy it, to strive to do better than you are doing now. Not let that striving, though, consume you to a level of where you can't enjoy what you have. See, we're back to those, making those gratitude lists so that you can be aware of what you have and what you're grateful for. And also being able to actually set reasonable goals. Now, goal setting is another one of the things I've talked about, but I'll touch on it again briefly. When you set a goal, it should be something that you can, I mean, it's okay to have these pie in the sky goals if it makes you feel good. Realistically, though, you should be able to set a goal of where you want to be at 5 or 6 months from now with something that is achievable. You can measure it so that you know you achieved it. It's realistic, okay? And with that in mind, then, you change over from I want to be, happier to, well, I want to be, and you find a way to measure it, 10% better off than I am today, whether it's health, whether it's friends, whether it's whatever. And you measure where you're at now. That's why we do those things like the PHQ, which is the patient health questionnaire, or the GAD, to find out what level of worry and anxiety you have. So, these measures that we have, these scales, and it gives us an idea of what we're looking for. In my next video, I'll talk more about scaling. So look forward to that. But I'll leave you with the idea now of trying to find a level that is above where you're at now, if you're not thrilled with where you're at, that is achievable and realistic. And then let's find a way that we can measure that and get that goal. Sometimes it's finances. People say, I want to be rich. And I'm like, that's all relative. How much money do you want to have in the bank, or how much property do you want to have, or how much security do you want to pay or do or get, or what is your idea of wealth, so that you can not have a fear of missing out? Because the thing is, you might already have what it is you think you're missing out on, but you're too busy running around like Chicken Little that you don't know you've already got it. Or you may be so worried about what you don't have that you go into idgaf and you just don't care. So you don't get up and do anything to enjoy what you do have. So here we are again, middle path. See what you can do. Roll those around in your head. Honestly, think about what it is you think you're missing out on. Is it realistic? And when I say realistic, go and talk to some friends. And talk to some friends who are genuinely feeling good, that are happy, that like their life, and say, I think I'm missing out on something. What's going on here? And they may be able to point out to you, well, you got this and this going on. Yeah, this you don't have, but this is the realistic way it is. And then you're able to put these things together in your mind and go, okay, maybe I got so caught up in what I don't have that I didn't notice that I've actually got it and I actually enjoy it. Okay. So IDGAF, FOMO, see where you lie and see if you can come to that middle place. Namaste.